Yo, 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 it's Cinderella Sew. What up? Today I'm going to show you how to take in the sides of a dress or shirt. So if you have something that's just a bit too wide on the sides, I'm going to show you exactly how to take it in. And it's really easy to do. Here we go. So the first thing you're going to do is put your dress inside out so that we're sewing on the wrong side of the fabric. This dress has elastic across the back and we don't want to sew through elastic. We're just going to sew this fabric. So we're basically making a triangle, how much we want to take in from the top, and then right to the side seam on the waist. So we're going to fold this in about 1/2 inch, so it's a full inch we're taking in. So it's going to look like that. So you're going to take a piece of thread and stretch it about the length of your arm, and then you can cut it off at a bit of an angle like that. You're going to put your thread through that hole in the top of the needle like that, and then pull it until the ends meet at the bottom like that. Now you can just smooth out your thread, and we're going to sew with this double layer here. So we're taking the dress in about 1 inch, so you're going to fold it in half like that. This is 1/2 inch on each side, which will mean 1 inch. And we're just going to start with a knot there on the side of the dress. You want to make sure the fabric lines up perfectly at the top like that. Now you can just put your needle through both layers of fabric, pull it out, but don't pull it all the way. You want to leave some ends hanging out like that. Now you're going to go back through those same holes again, and this creates a loop of thread. When the loop starts to close, you can put your needle through it and then pull it tight, and that just knots your thread in place. So we're going to do at least 3 knots just like that to make sure our thread is nice and secure. Perfect. So we have 3 knots. Now we're going to start sewing. So we're sewing from this knot just down along this side seam so that there's an extra triangle of fabric that we're taking off. So now we can start sewing down this side seam until we get to the waist. So all you need to do is take your needle and go down and out through the fabric really close to that side seam, or even right on the side seam, and pull your needle through like that. And after you do a stitch, you want to do a back stitch that really secures it in place. So you go back to where you started, down through the fabric again, and then out where you just came out. So that makes it nice and secure. Again, you'll go down and out through the fabric on the side seam, and then go back to where you just went down, and then out again near the same place you just came out. So you can see that this makes thread all along that side seam, making it nice and secure. All we have to do is do this all the way down till we reach the waist right there. So when you start to run out of thread like this, you want to do some knots. So that just means doing one of those small little back stitches, and then when you have a loop of thread, you put your needle through the loop like that and pull it shut, and that's 1 knot. You always want to make at least 2 or 3 knots before we cut off our thread and start sewing again. We've made a couple knots. Now we can cut off our thread, and we're going to rethread our needle, smooth out our thread, and we'll continue sewing. So we're going to go back into the fabric, and just like we started before, we're going to make some of those knots. Just make a back stitch, taking a step back, and then out the same hole you just came out. And when you pull your thread, you make a loop, your needle through that loop, and pull it shut. We're going to make at least 3 knots to start. So we're starting right where we left off, and now we just keep sewing till we get to the bottom. So we're almost at the bottom there. You want to fold the fabric so there's no extra fabric where you're going to end. This triangle is going to stop right there where the waist begins. And if your dress doesn't have a waist, usually a hand's length is a good size triangle. So when you get to the bottom of your triangle, you're just going to make 3 knots, and you can cut off your thread, and then we will do the other side. So now you can cut off your thread. You can also cut these extra pieces of thread from where you first started sewing so that you don't even see them at all. So you're going to fold over the side you already sewed so it can show you how much you're taking off this side to make sure it's nice and even. You're just going to line them up, and then you know exactly how much to fold in on this side. You know it's the same amount, you're going to do the exact same thing. Push your needle in through both layers of fabric, pull it almost through but not all the way, back through the same spots again, making the loop of thread. Put your needle through the loop and pull it shut. We're going to do at least 3 of these knots before we start sewing. Good. And now we're ready to start sewing our next triangle. So again, you're just going down and up through the side seam, and then do a back stitch to cover the area where there's no thread. Down and up through the fabric. So now we are at the bottom of our second triangle. All we need to do is 3 of those knots. Put your needle through the loop of thread and pull it shut. And once we have 3 knots in place, we can cut off our thread and try on our dress. So now we'll cut off our thread and try it on. And now that we're all done sewing, you can see the dress is perfectly smooth down the sides. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching Cinderella Sew, and I'll see you soon. Peace.